Regarding the Juan Valdez case, specifically, Procafecul launched a precise strategy related with the coffee development in the country. This strategy consisted in placing the products on shelves of different retailers around the world. This was a geographic expansion strategy that brought opportunities to the coffee brand, and these geographic places included countries like Canada, US, Spain, and Germany. The brand was assessing the potential of instituting a franchise model, so all expansion efforts outside Colombia had been pursued in collaborations with the local market corporations related to the industry. However, there was some drawbacks presented in their international scope. Also, the FNC had supported research into agricultural environmental trends since its earliest year. For example, they managed lots of programs of science of growing and processing coffee. This was made to promote the distinctiveness of the Colombian coffee and making it unique in the industry, turning some areas of growing into zones of marginal productivity.
Now, speaking about the messy part of Juan Valdez, Juan Valdez, and most specifically the FNC, directed their attention into selling their products internationally by applying a series of techniques that would put Colombian coffee on the market. Such strategies entailed like the usage of the 100% Colombian coffee slogan and marketing initiative, as well as opening offices in business hotspots such as Tokyo, Beijing, and New York. Furthermore, they brought Colombian coffee to supermarkets in distinct locations around the globe with the message that it was a handcrafted operation done by Colombian farmers, which really set apart Juan Valdez from other brands and made them more recognizable abroad.
About the micro-components of each case of study, their functions and their interconnections. I would like to start with the Juan Valdez case of study. So, the coffee sector has been one of the most important triggers for economic growth in the country. The main purpose of the brand Juan Valdez and the sector is protecting the cafeteros and their families. So, the coffee industry provides the country with a big number of jobs. It triggers education, and most importantly, it triggers exportations and the interest of Colombia into the global market. So it has a big role in the economic growth of the entire country. In 1990s, we faced the coffee revolution thanks to Starbucks that recreated the coffee culture with modern consumers. We were in a really bad crisis, so we need a new strategy. And in 2001, Colombian government assembled a commission composed of leaders of the public and private sector to create new strategies. They created the Green Book that was basically the new strategies that they came up with to respond to this new market demand. We can identify an interconnection because thanks to the historical context of the new coffee revolution, the government decided they needed to support the Federación Nacional de Cafeteros to create a new strategy and innovate.
Considering the company AT&T, they were so strategical in order to expand the company. They built and operate a network of interstate long-distance lines connecting the local companies. The strategy was to connect the nation's two largest cities, that were New York and Chicago. Also, by their famous slogan, they convinced the American people and government that the United States would be best served by having a single national telephone system under AT&T control. Eventually, the capacities of this company were huge, because they were an innovative corporation that was considered as a new basis of all modern electronics in the US and around the world, leading them to be considered as a monopoly. In terms of research and development, the ones in charge of the build-out of such important creations that were Telstar project and the transistor, they studied specifically the technology that could potentially play a role in the satellite communication system. Basically, AT&T decided that its satellite development program should lead to to a fully operational commercial system. This system could replace undersea transmission cables, also the 50 satellites that will support worldwide delivery of voice, data, and television communications. Also, regarding the telephone, this research and development provided all the piece parts like amplifiers, microphones, and electrical recording for the addition of sound to movies, except for the means of synchronized sound and pictures involve recording playback.
Now, talking about the message part, starting with AT&T, when talking about them, they focus on keeping their best networks and connections possible in order to further innovate globally. Features like their fiber optic, Wi-Fi, and 5G have truly meant a great deal for them in the innovation department, especially because of the results in good quality customer service, satisfaction, experience. Aside from this, diving into new fields like AI, cybersecurity, software and edge computing have also contributed into building up that experience that AT&T is so eager to provide, since it can be integrated into many aspects of a consumer's life, such as business, studies, and even family.
About AT&T. By 1875, Bell created the first telephone ever made by transmitting speech sounds by a telegraph. So AT&T was founded with one of the most important inventions of all time. And that commercialization created a business, and this business continued to grow through all the United States with franchises, and this company became a leading manufacturer of electrical equipment. This supported the economical growth of the company at that time. The government decided to support AT&T by following the slogan, "One policy, one system, universal system," by thinking the US will be best served by having a single national telephone system, so the government regulated the competition and led the space for them. Thanks to this, AT&T operated Bell system as a regulated government-sanctioned national monopoly. We can see a really important interconnection because when the government identified an opportunity, they had that historical context with a total new invention, and they decided to trigger this innovation in their country and give all the support to that enterprise.